1 down, 3 to go. It's going to be a good, fun time here as we do jump into game number 2. But before we get there, you'll realise Nat's here on the desk with us. You want to know why? Because we've got some sick memes to look at. And Nat requested that she be part of the panel to quickly have a look at what's going down as well. So we said, of course, we're happy to have you here for the pre-show before the damn interviews. That's not your only damn job here, Nat. You're doing a damn good job in many, many ways. Now let's have a look at what the viewers have sent in. I believe a lot of it's coming in from the Discord. It is Lolo. I believe that the Discord picture is the same as Lorenzo. Unless it's a different person. However,
no, it is Lorenzo.
It is Lorenzo? Well, there you go. And fight me, Baza! And it's us for just, getting ready to punch on with the big man.
We both got the same emotion, don't we, Mac? What's going on there? We both got the kind of like the smiling smirk behind your teeth.
Yeah, it's like a, we're ready, but
you're not nervous.
I wouldn't say I'm nervous. I'm like, yeah, come on. Look,
it looks like accepting reality.
Just get it over with, huh?
Yeah, I think he was referencing the content piece we had yesterday with the players picking if they'd rather fight Elder or Baron. And apparently we all got lumped into fight Baron.
Good meme lore.
Yeah, this is good.
I love it. Love the lore. Now, we do have one more meme here as well, which we are going to throw up. And it's me. Someone's actually photoshopped some pink Speedos of my suit.
Way too good.
There you go. Pico, facing away from the camera, pretty disappointed with why I've opted for these Speedos. Of course, this is photoshopped. My Speedos are much less fluoro pink and crazy bright like they are. But, yeah.
What would your superpower be, Mac, if you're a superhero, right? Are you like invisibility, teleportation?
I'd be able to yell really loud and break things with my voice being loud and blow up eardrums or something. I
That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
So we can have some Juve's play-by-play
Shout me.
from Mac.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it.
There you go.
Just yell
we
really
can
loud.
Reference any branded things, but there is a superhero that already does that. It's female with blonde hair.
Oh.
Yeah.
There you go. Do you recall the name?
Yeah, it's Black Canary.
Ah, I've
It's
heard
her
of
name.
that one. I think
Yep.
Jess has told me about that before. I haven't read any of the comics, unfortunately. Not a pop culture nerd, not a comic nerd like some people are. However, nothing against you guys. And I guess it's probably time we should talk about the game because there's a second game here. Yes, as much fun as we're having, we need to get back to work. We need to talk about Gravitas and Pentanet. But let's talk Gravitas first. So their season has pretty much come to an end. This is their last game. Unfortunately, they couldn't make playoffs. There was a dream earlier in the season, in the split rather, where they could have made it to playoffs, but then a couple of feet placed in the wrong positions means that they are here. And I dare say, are we going to see Kiyose in the jungle again today? Because they swapped these roles around when they were actually in the Rift. Right, Rusty?
So I was going to get you to recap yesterday for me, Mac.
Do you want me to take it?
I'm not kidding when I say I was at the gym. And because I normally have control of the speakers, someone else came into the gym, so I turned off the LCO because I got very self-conscious about it. I wanted music on instead. So I didn't see this game.
Well,
That's
from that game, it's actually really exciting because they drafted Lucian, and then it was a Diana as well, and essentially it came down to the very last point in the draft where I imagine it was just a case of Rizza feeling more comfortable on the Lucian, so they said, look, you're going to take the reins as the mid laner today. So I'd imagine much the same again today, right? They're going to draft. We talk about flexes with champions in 3 different lanes. Now they're actually flexing the plays individually. That's showing the sort of caliber of these guys. Kind of cool. So we could have ourselves another wild, wacky draft that causes headaches for the opposition. And, ourselves and viewers alike all get juked until literally the 5th and final pick.
Well, there you have it. Now we have to talk about Pentanet as well. So Gravitas to close off the season have to go up against Pentanet again. And it's going to be a dangerous one for them because Pentanet have been playing out of their damn minds for the most part. Biopanther, Parbu, Chaz, Prater, Decoy, you know him, you love him. And Rusty, did you see these guys play yesterday?
I did see these guys play yesterday. I saw all 50 minutes of it. It was very hard not to watch it because from 30 minutes onwards, you never really knew what was going to happen. I did feel like we spent 20 minutes watching a game on a knife's edge. Now, they did lose it yesterday, just to pass that pop quiz quickly so you know I was watching. I did actually see them lose to the split push of the Chiefs, but it still felt like, again, like yesterday they had control for most of the game. It was just that they slipped up against the split push composition and they were punished big time for it, which ultimately is of their own doing. So they still have a lot of work to improve on coming into today.
Certainly do. And look, head-to-head, you feel like Pensanet are probably going to be the heavy favourites in this matchup. But again, I believe this is the matchup we saw at the end of last season, which played spoiler to Pensanet's perfect season. So we could potentially see something crazy happen and something crazy come through again. Nat, do you recall what happened in that game?
Last split?
Yes.
I think PGG probably had the draft of their lives and just unfortunately couldn't really execute it. I think
really?
they're one of the best champs out there.
Yeah,
of course,
sure.
a Moo. For anyone who didn't watch it, you should definitely go back and have a look.
They fell to the Shaco.
However, which for today, I think it's honestly so much closer than we think. They both lost yesterday, and head-to-head, they're one game each. So they're, stats-wise, the closest they probably have ever been.
All right. Well, a bird has flown into my ear.
You okay?
And it's fine. It's all right. I couldn't hear you for a second because I thought someone was talking. There's a bird in my ear. And they told me that the interview's ready. Yeah? So who do you have for the pregame?
Yeah, I'm going to be joined by Floppy and Pabu for this interview. Thank you both so much for joining me. Pabu, I want to ask you, unfortunately, you guys did lose to that extremely, I guess as Liv put it, exhausting 50-minute game yesterday. So how are you guys feeling coming into this one?
I mean, still pretty good. Like, our draft was good. We played out the early game pretty well. And, you know, we have another opportunity to actually go back into first place. So I guess we're pretty lucky in that sense. We kind of, you know, we dropped the ball, we let it slip, but now it is back in our possession. So, you know, all we have to do is put up a good performance today and we can slide right back into first.
How much would this win mean for you to, like, confidence-wise?
I don't think it's too much confidence-wise. It's just really nice to know that we're in the best position we can be. I mean, it's pretty important for us to secure first place, not for our confidence, but just to put ourselves in the best position to go to Worlds.
Yeah, definitely. Now, Fluffy, on the side of Gravitas, unfortunately, the loss yesterday meant you guys no longer can make it to playoffs. So how are the emotions down there for the boys in Gravitas?
I mean, obviously disappointed, but I also think, like, Gravitas had no expectations, and I think we performed much better than basically everyone was thinking that we would. So I'm still proud of like what we accomplished this year.
Yeah, 100%. You guys definitely should be. I do want to have a little bit more of an insight, though, into that Kyosei Rizza sort of role swap that we saw going on. Was that something like they're just comfortable changing, or explain a bit more to me about it?
Yeah, it's a partly due to that, but it's also because our junglers like really like were just not available for this this week, which is unfortunate. But I think Kyosei is he's just a hard grinder, and he's always willing to learn these things. So he's put like so many ranked games into playing jungle. So I think with the meta, like having certain champions that can be like played in the jungle that he's comfortable with, like I think it's worked out pretty reasonably for us.
Yeah, I'm hoping maybe there could be a little bit of success in that, you know, experimenting that's going on for you guys. Pabu, when I spoke to Chaz yesterday, though, he said, you know, there's a lot of things that you guys are working on. I want to know, is there any more specifics that you can give me that potentially we might see tonight?
I mean, there's always a lot of things, but just making sure that, I guess it's kind of almost always the same thing, right? Like teams are always focusing on their fundamentals, you know, we're working on making sure that we're all involved in the play. And that's kind of what it always ends up being, like making sure that we're all performing like our duties inside of every play is kind of like the main focus, and making sure that we're all on the same page. So I'd say that's like the primary focus. I'd say it was like a lot better for us early in the split, and we kind of slipped off on it. So we have to kind of go back to what made us good at the beginning.
Yeah, well, I'll be interested to see if it comes out tonight. Last thing though, before I do let you go, Floppy, I want to ask you, you know, this is the last time that we'll be seeing you for the 2021 LCO. I want to know, is there anything you want to say out there to your own fans and the Gravitas fans watching?
Well, I mean, thank you for supporting us and me personally. It'll be nice to have like a little bit of time off. I'm probably be streaming or something. But yeah, I think hopefully the fans are proud of what we've accomplished too. Like I think we've definitely we've performed better than expectations. So yeah.
I can guarantee you that people are very, very impressed and very proud of how much Gravitas has done this split. But thank you both so much for joining me, and good luck in tonight's game.
Thanks,
Thank
Dan.
you.
There you have it. Good to hear that everyone's relatively chipper about what we're going into today. So I think, it should be a fun game. Hopefully Gravitas can pull out an unexpected win. That'd be a damn sight to see. However, let's see what we think about how this game's going to go. Let's bring up the predictions, and I've gone with Twitch chat as per usual. We got Rusty and Skimmy both in the Pentanet camp. Can I just point out, you guys are now 1 point away from each other. Rusty, you were like 5 or 6 points ahead of everyone last week, and Skimmy's managed to somehow pull his way back in.
Skimmy's not only been calling every single upset somehow, I simultaneously, while said I was going to copy his tips, decided not to do that. So I'll let him throw the gauntlet. If luck falls on his side, so be it. Because there's no prize for winning this, I will just say. So go for gold, Skimmy, if you can.
If you can. What about you, Skimmy? You've decided to copy the pick of Rusty here, so there's obviously no catching up this game.
I mean, just across the board, I just want to see some difference. I think, we had those weeks, right, where everything was so static and boring. And then, given sort of how turbulent the season it has been, I was just like, you know what? Once in a while, let's just go for the one man, pointing at the flag and saying these guys can do it. So, as you say, it's I think in this occasion, though, I think Pentanet are just strong favourites. Gravitas were really strong to start off with, but they've fallen off in recent weeks.
Oh, and it's bloody boring on page 2. Everyone's gone Pentanet. Everyone just wants their easy bloody pick. Nat, come on, defend yourself.
Oh, I do think that, Pentanet, what they're working on behind the scenes is... not to say that they're putting in more effort or anything like that. I don't want it to come across this way, but they still have playoffs to come, right? So what they're hoping to deliver today is going to roll into playoffs. Gravitas, unfortunately, aren't going to. So for them, not that it's pressure, but they just don't feel the need to really step up and be like, we've got to be on our A game, because, it's not really going to roll into anywhere else for them.
Very, very true. Now, something I forgot to mention earlier. If you want to see how the evening can unfold, exclamation Foldy cheat in Foldy cheat? Foldy sheet in the chat. I went to say in chat, but with the sheet and the chit, and then the cheat came up, but it's Foldy sheet in the chat. So I'll type it. I can't even say it. I can't say exclamation. I need to have a drink of water.
Exclamation mark Foldy sheet.
Well, thanks, Nat. Oh, your pronunciation's so much better than mine. I'm way too Aussie for this. Anyway, it's time for the damn game, so we're not going to keep you waiting any longer. Gravitas and Pentanet coming up now.
Beauty. Well, let's crack on to this one, Rusty, because we'll remind the viewers once again sort of what's at stake here. Quick from myself is that this is the reigning champions in Pentanet taking up the rising challengers in Gravitas, and funnily enough, it's a 1-to-1 head-to-head.
Yeah, it's interesting. A lot of today, Nat brought this up earlier actually, a lot of today is 1-to-1 in head-to-heads. So it has been interesting to watch this happen. Also for standings implications, Pentanet.gg are looking to win to get outright first place. They have head-to-head against Order. So a win here should just secure first, regardless of what Order does in the next game. So this is obviously a pretty big game for PGG. Order fans should be Gravitas' biggest fan right now. The only thing that you have to deal with is the fact that their junglers aren't currently available and that their mid lane is playing the jungle position and you don't know what you're getting, but you can still bank on them getting the dub because you need it.
Certainly do, and I did see some fighting words posted before from Kiyose on social saying, good luck to you, Parbu. Made a better jungler win, so certainly feeling confident about himself, and why would you not, right, if you're looking to sort of put your season to a close and put your best foot forward. Another game and another opening pick here with the Viego.
Yeah, Gwen going to be banned on blue side this time as well, actually. A nice little hover there from Gravitas. If you think back to last split, last game, we did actually see a Shaco that won against PGG's Amumu. So there's a chance we get the Amumu hover here on the other side, so don't fret if that's what you see. Viego first pick obviously is going to be a big deal. We've seen Chaz play this to a very high degree of success. I think we've also seen Biopanther play it maybe once or twice, primarily mid, however, Parbu also able to. So with the flexibility of that champion, obviously you're going to pick it first. Gravitas on the other side, Varus is an obvious choice. The question is more what goes with the Varus. If you get like the Leona style composition, open the gates to a Trundle from PGG. we will see.
Yeah, unfortunately, on this occasion, Trundle is gone, so it's a bit of a party poop in that regard. But what have we seen in the past with this? I think if we're looking at Gravitas, we've had Braum and Lulu being the most common pairing. There is the Amumu hover, as you say, so really, well and truly, coming to the end of Split 2, we are almost reminiscing for the end of Split 1 as well.
I'm trying to put it behind me, Skimmy, but I do still owe a tattoo, so
I know,
I'll never
yes, I don't think
forget
people
it.
have forgotten.
No, they haven't. I can reassure you
So
that
you
they
get
haven't
constant
forgotten.
reminders.
Yep.
Will be the Diana, which is what exactly Kyosei played last time around. So he's not going to be able to one trick in a very short jungle career. You have to bust out something different here today.
Yeah, he'll have to bring out a second champion, revolutionary option. Thresh is a pretty straightforward choice here from Gravitas. You could consider the Nautilus ultimately. I think Thresh just makes the most sense. It's up to Floppy here. You could consider a jungler. Syndra's the real point of difference. You've opted into your solo lane, presumably with the Varus there as well. Mid laner secured. So it would be rude not to pick your support here, but it's possible that you pick your jungler, so I'm glad that it went this round instead.
There's the common pairing again from Gravitas, as we highlighted, but also the Braum will do a fair bit of work into the first 3 picks that Pentanet have already, right? We talk about passives and how strong it can be, and definitely if Floppy can get some work done, then he can look to try and stem the aggression that Pentanet are looking to put forward. But you see Leona, you think a decoy, you think, how much comfier can you really become as a support player?
Yeah, I mean, that is definitely his comfort zone. All we're missing now is like a Kai'Sa or an Aphelios or Praetus, so I see that immediately being banned away by Gravitas for good reason. There's an interesting Aatrox ban here, though. Looking at the 4 bans so far from PGG, it does stand out that Saf is the one just copping it.
Oh, 4 bans towards him, isn't it? It's nuts.
It used to be that Kyosei would get all of the targeted bans towards him, but now we assume he's jungling. So it does make sense to transition that up to the person who's doing most of the heavy lifting, it feels like, for Gravitas.
Funny enough, you actually mentioned that, because if you look at some of the most banned champions against Gravitas, it's been LeBlanc, Lulu, Karma, and then Camille. So it really has been that hard focus, as you say, towards the mid lane. And there's another ban towards one of these AD carries. The Ashe taken away because Varus is already locked in. And now we're getting really deep into champion pools. Remove the Vayne too.
Yeah, remove top Vayne. I think that was actually what they won with last time. So that was legitimately a throwaway ban.
Yep.
As just an insult to Sappho, nothing else. Just cheeky little poke in his direction.
5 bans towards Sappho.
Yeah, Vayne gone. What is left? So many things, Skimmy. Top lane champion pool is expansive, to say the least. We haven't seen much of it from Sappho, though.
I mean, at least from this split, you're looking at Lee Sin as well as Na, perhaps even Akali. Lee Sin's been locked in here, so there's a potential flex. We'll get to see whether or not that will be the Kyosei special, or even if Rizza is still even a consideration to flex into the jungle war. Not too sure just yet, and that is the excitement of this all, as Pentanet now, with all these AD carries removed, are deciding what is going to be the best matchup going into this Varus, and it is going to be the Ezreal.
Yeah, pretty straightforward bottom lane here from PGG. Good engage overall from most of their composition. Viega going at the exact place that we expected it would go as well. So it is going to be down in, that is going to be in mid lane. But going to be a pretty good weak side. Ezreal, the owner, free to roam. Top lane's Biopanther sitting on a tank, so he's in his comfort zone. Lots of good ranged engage for the composition as well. Not that they necessarily needed it, but it is a blind pick top, so just went where he was comfortable, right? And I think Ornn is generally a better option than the other choices, like perhaps a Sion or a Gnar blind. So I like this from PGG. It feels like it goes without saying that the draft is very straightforward. Basically, you get what it says on the can. Gravitas on the other side are the ones who have mixed things up. Is that what we would say here?
Well, it's certainly a fruit
waiting for them
salad,
to
a
trade.
mixed cocktail. It's something, and maybe it's an undiscovered drink recipe that we're ready to taste.
Okay. One more trade. Where we should be. Okay, we're good. Right,
Locked
so
in.
Rizza's going to be playing mid lane again. Kyosei's going to be jungling. He's on Lee Sin. So if there's one thing that I can say, Skimmy, as someone who doesn't play jungle, the second that I play jungle, I pick Lee Sin. You know why?
What's that?
It's fun. So it's like, why wouldn't I pick it? You're just going to have a great time. You've got so much mobility, for a mid laner transitioning to jungle, it is the pick that makes the most sense, I think, as well. So besides the Diana, which was taken away. So I think he would be as much in his comfort zone as he possibly could be. The jungler of Gravitas here in Kyose.
I've seen your fun, right? I've seen that Twitch clip of you dashing into the Baron pit, dashing back out, and hitting like sort of the angles and calculating the geometry to get that kill and dash out from, what was it, a Veigar cage? Something crazy like that. So definitely a champion that can have the same sort of skill expression that you'd love to see from a mid lane player. And that's what we have once again, right? A double mid lane flex with Kyose having to fill up the reins as the jungler here today. But it's going to be the second game of the night here to close out the LCO's regular split. Pentanet.gg up against Gravitas. If you're a Pentanet fan, you really want them to win because this guarantees first place. But if you're a Gravitas fan and even an Order fan, you're really wanting them to win because that could still force either a 3-way tie, 4-way tie, or Order in pole position as well.
Absolutely. You're looking at Gravitas, if you're an Order fan, you're thinking that they are your favorites right now. For PGG, they just want to get the dub. You know, do it clean, do it yourself. The mistakes that they made yesterday have come back to haunt them today. The loss that they suffered definitely has backfired, but it's still in their hands. The compliments of the Direwolves is definitely the biggest takeaway for this one. So maybe a sigh of relief. Still going to have to execute on the Rift here, though, and remember that you've got your Ornn into the Braum. Things could be a lot easier. It isn't the perfect out-drafting by any means, but I still think that you're in, you know, pretty comfortable pole position to take this game out.
Let's see which team can take this one out. And as we get ourselves loaded into one, let's welcome back Poltron into the discussion and sort of talk about Gravitas and all things for the season. And I mean, I'll start by talking about that draft because we saw a lot of champions hovered. Your Shaco, their Amumu. Sort of, does it feel nice in a way to know that you were part of the history that kind of dismantled the perfect split?
Oh, well, it definitely does. I think it's a bit of the mental game, you know, everyone hovering it, just reminding Pentanet. We stopped your perfect split 1, and here we are, final game of split 2, and we're here to take you down.
Do you think maybe it's a substitution mind game, right? You talk about yourself slotting in to be the jungler and playing a Shaco and beating him. We've now got Kyose coming in as a jungler. Look, I'm going deep down the rabbit hole of conspiracy theories here, but do you think that's a case of perhaps, you know, swapping people out can cause the upset?
Possibly, maybe that's it. I honestly haven't thought about that too much. I just think as long as you've got 5 players that are happy to play together, happy to work together, you can bring home wins.
Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty far-fetched, you know, theory to say the least. But on a serious topic, I mean, talk to me about this entire split, right? I mean, it's been a phenomenal split of growth, many accolades achieved. I saw Sean Callan mention a few in your Discord before about sort of how you've managed to, you know, take down some top teams, how you've managed to field so many players. We believe 10 players across the entirety of 2021. You sort of look at the win-loss record of Split 1 coming into this one. You've doubled that already. A really strong start to the splits. I mean, apart from all that, have there been any key moments for yourself individually or for the team as a whole?
Personally, I'll speak for myself first. Us just, you know, going 3-0 against Peace this split was huge. Being able to consistently take down a veteran team such as Peace really just gave me that that confidence to keep on going, keep on pushing. And I think the majority of the players as well are just really, really happy with their improvement. Obviously, we didn't make playoffs. Everyone was a bit disappointed. But I look back at the split, I'm still extremely happy with how everyone grew together, both as a team and as individual players. It's just great. Great to see.
Yeah, I mean, how have you sort of found it, you know, into the coaching role, right? A pretty new role for yourself and, you know, big staff of not only players, but coaching staff behind you and to see sort of that level of growth. I mean, there's clearly a recipe for success that's paying off.
Yeah, obviously it's my first year coaching, and I think the biggest issue I had when I was, you know, trying to coach Gravitas was finding my role, finding what my job was. Obviously, when people think of coaches, they think of, oh, okay, you know, they do the draft, they help with learning champions and picks such as that. But there's a lot more to it, you know, making sure you get everyone together. You have 5 players that can communicate well, that really have a good time together. And I think that was just my biggest obstacle this split, which I'm happy to say that I think I've overcome for sure.
That's fantastic. It's really good to hear that. Because I suppose it segues into my next point, talking about draft quickly. We know that Safa is, you know, huge in this team, and we saw it quite clearly from Pentanet. 5 bans towards him. I mean, what does that really say about a player like him where he receives that much focus?
Well, I think Pentanet both respect Safa and also, you know, they're pretty scared of him. I reckon Biopanther, after losing to us in the first round robin, he's like, yep, you know, I don't want to verse this guy on Camille or Aatrox again. Get him out of here. And obviously they tried to force Safa on pick that he wasn't too comfortable on, but Safa was in. When I was speaking to him in the champ select, you know, he was like, "Oh, give me a Silas and I'm ready to win."
The confidence from the man, like we've come to expect. Mate, it's been a pleasure watching you boys play this season. I wish it goes out in a blaze of glory, and we'll catch up next time.
Thank you.
Always nice to catch up with the coach, have a little bit more of a an intimate discussion about them, the team, and sort of a year in review.
I like the idea, as Kyo says, ganking mid, so we might hold the thought. We're good. I like the idea that every coach is different, and coaching isn't straightforward. You know, like not everybody just sits there and drafts. It's all about filling the responsibility that the team requires to make sure you get the win, right? That is ultimately your goal. So I like the idea that he's doing his own thing and doing what he believes is the best to get the dubs, because that is what matters. Still, we'll carry on with the game itself. So far, it's just been Parby pretty casually farming. The 1 point of difference is bottom. They're going again.
He is bottom, yeah. Deco in a bit of trouble right now. Aftershock will pop, and he's actually going to look to try and flash away, but it doesn't matter because the Braum passive connects. The Ignite is there. The first spot's achieved. Thomas Shed finds the first kill, and then the trader goes across. And in the bot 2v2, Gravitas come out ahead.
Yeah, they do, and that all starts from level 1. So the big thing here for Gravitas is rule number 1 of League of Legends is don't chase Singed. Rule number 2 is don't fight a Braum level 1. And that is the mistake that PGG make. They get caught in the river, they get hit by a Braum Q, they get chased down. You know, the difference in health at level 1 starts to add up and gives a lot of lane control to Thomas Shen and to Floppy. And now they get themselves a kill with the lane in a perfect lane state, more than anything else almost. Like, he's going to get back to this wave and catch most of the minions. Thomas Shen's going to be pretty happy with the outcome of this. And so will Gravitas as a whole.
Shared money between the AD carry as well as the support player. We might not be done just yet. Both now finding themselves in a point of aggression with junglers hovering. Parby coming through the lane has been revealed though by the wards, and Kyosei, they have no idea that he's working his way through the river, chilling in the brush, waiting in the wings to see if anything were to materialize.
He's just going to recall though. Not necessarily a fight that I think Kyosei wanted to hard force. He's down a level. So it would have been more like if Braum got an auto attack off or a free Q and they're able to, you know, force a stun. Kyosei also just gets spotted there. So Mystic Shot going to see him. Control Ward in the Drake pit as well is going to reveal that he currently has hit it. But he has priority of his bottom lane, so I doubt they'll be able to stop that one. It is more just free information, free knowledge. And this should help to equalize a bit of the experience deficit here, as this will tick him over to 5 and some change. But not too bad overall, Skimmy. Things pretty chill, even though there's a lot of fighting. You know, bot winning. Safa definitely not having a free run of top lane, however. You know, Silas did get changes in power from the W to the Q, so being W max into Ornn, which makes sense, isn't going to be as good.
Look at this. We've seen this play from Pentanet before. Clean looking dive. The knock-up connects. Then the headbutt into the wall. But a beautiful slingshot as the chains connected him in to try and get him out of harm's way. And he steals the ultimate, but not enough time to execute. And PGG find themselves a kill in the top lane and a huge wave to crash.
Yeah, and that's now going to influence this lane massively. Not only was he really just not winning before, but now he's just objectively losing. That is a significant amount of minions and a plate that goes over to Biopanther and is missed by Safa. And a clean dive, you know, more than anything else. I think you can probably reflect upon that one and say Safa should have Ornn-ulted the second he stole it to have a better chance there. And, you know, did have flash. There was absolutely a world where he plays it better. But I think even in that better world, it probably would have been a 1-for-1. So still a good dive from PGG overall and works out brilliantly.
Certainly does. Safa was punished. No TP to come back to this wave, and now he's down 2 waves, you'd have to say. Not the happiest of days, but he will have a plethora of ultimates to choose later into this game. Could be pretty crucial in deciding who comes out ahead once the 5v5 comes to a conclusion. But I mean, whilst you talk about how top side is sort of negatively impacted, it's still looking towards bot side where Thomas Shed is so far ahead of this Ezreal.
Yeah, Varus is probably the place that you have to play around. Safa's teleports, even Riz's teleports may start to shift that direction. There's a world where you actually play slow and try and actually bring the Varus and Braum towards mid at a point. But until such a moment, there is definitely the whole map is PGG's oyster, really. You know, Diana hitting level 6, Chaz not too far away from having that ultimate backup for himself again. As long as you respect the whereabouts of Kiyose, then you should have a good time. But right now they aren't tracking him, and Braum is mid.
Oh, they've unleashed power. The damage to try and pad is health bar just low enough for the rest of the boys to back him up and find that kill, and he's just sort of dodged it all, really.
Yeah, one flash gets him out to safety. I just really looked at the jungle CS. Skivvy and G's.
Yeah.
Bit of a difference that we're currently experiencing in junglers. Who'd have thought that someone who mains jungle versus someone who's subbing in would have differences, but nevertheless, it's the battle that Kiyose has to face. I think it was like 72 to 48 in jungle farm, so pretty big deal. As we're just quickly seeing those stats of Chaz on Viego, obviously very good.
Now Pabu has stolen away that blue buff and looking to catch up Floppy, who's going to hit that Glacial Fissure to knock up too. The Moonfall to follow. The damage is there. The damage isn't enough to take Floppy out, but it will be now Kiyose following, and the Empowered Arrow will not land. So both supports were the focus, but both supports survive.
Just the fact that the chains don't hit basically does save their life there. So again, the idea was right from Gravitas. Like mentioned, they can play towards their Varus, towards their strong point on the map. While Varus has very good pick potential, and it was PGG that kicked that fight off. So being able to keep them at bay is a win. But still, the man who hovers, as I would call him, a helicopter parent as a former teacher. It's unrelenting in his ability to just always be there.
Was deciding whether or not to drop their Herald, but it ultimately has gone against it. And once again, we're now seeing another Viego mid lane matchup up against the Mage. We're having to weather the storm. A bit rough at the moment.
Yeah, not nearly as bad as a Cass though. The Cassiopeia is crippling. You can't even last hit minions. You just get pushed back constantly. The threat of the Miasma is a game changer. At least with Syndra, you can buffer your ultimate through stuns. You can get yourself out pretty okay. You still get poked down a lot. Like, it's not outright winning by any means. You can see the CS difference that started to grow is obviously speaking for itself, but...
Creative there getting a little bit excited.
He's asking to die,
the ability to try and find those kills. He's already burnt the Arcane Shift. Could he be in a bit of trouble? It's down for another 15 seconds here, Rusty. He's already got the flash. He's got the cleanse. The kick goes out. That's the execute. He's just gone.
Just mechanics on. Praetor's asking to die. There's no other way to explain that. Has cleanse, has flash, and is just sitting there throwing Mystic shots instead of leaving. Sooner or later, it's going to backfire, and obviously we know now you can trust the mechanics of Kiyose to get it done. I was able to find the kill, and Praetor gets his just rewards.
Well, you said they needed to identify the spot lane, and that's what they've done. The Herald has been summoned, looking to try and execute this tower, but it's still surviving for the meantime. But Kiyose is still going to follow that Sonic Wave. Why would you not? If your Q connects, it's the unspoken rule of playing Lee Sin. Now PGG are chasing on through, looking to try and find a kill of their own, as they've taken out Kiyose, as I mentioned, but now looking to try and get themselves a double kill. That's a free-man Moonfall, and the damage is just unreal. But a Scatter Week is fantastic as Safa turns things around now, and, well, he's looking to try and find a little bit more, but he doesn't have enough sustain to do battle with 4 members strong.
Yeah, Safa probably didn't even need to flash there. Should just accepted reality. Decoy at risk of dying here does just get popped by Rizza. So they'll get a trade on the back end of the fight, but still just winning, it feels like, for PGG overall. 2-0-3 is the scoreline of Chaz. And you've got an Ornn that's already rushing out of Themis Chains. Pretty much unstoppable. And I really, like, Kiyose's mind was definitely telling him no there, Skivvy. But yeah, 404 brain not found after the Q connects. You've got to press Q2. Such is life.
Well, we're back to the bot lane, as if nothing ever happened. We're looking to run back the play once again. Praetor, the same focus, a bit of a deja vu, but this time he will burn the Arcane Shift and he will have to use the flash.
Yeah, it's a lot easier to survive against a Syndra and a Braum because they need to layer abilities and hit stuns. You have flash and cleanse. We'll see the fight again. Kiyose hits the Q. There's just no world where you follow that Q up, but he did it, and he dies. So once again, gives a Viego a reset, and giving Viego resets is kind of just losing. Only Sin able to close enough distance to continue the fight. And Pabu has a very good time being Diana when all the setup from his team is there. And then, of course, Safa wants to have a crack, gets a kill, flashes really to nowhere and just gets slowly run down by 3 crowd control tanks as Viego takes over Braum.
But then Rizza, outside of that replay, was able to pick up another kill. So there's a lot of chaos, really, in the last few minutes down bot sides. A bit exciting. I'm sure we're going to see the same tune run true, given the fact that that is, right now, the big strong point here for Gravitas. But elsewhere on the map, you already touched on the Anathema Chains for Biopanther rushing up before his first mythic item. Wants to make sure that anybody that they do lay their grasp on will fall down. Chaz has completed now that Wit's End. And as a result, we might see him have a little bit more of an aggressive trading pattern going into Rizza.
Yeah, it will make life a little bit easier for him. Again, the all-in threat of Syndra is kind of everything in a Syndra's kit. If you don't have the ability to 100-0 someone, you... Oh, hang on.
Once more, flashing away there from the Solar Flames. Again, a beautiful 2-man Moonfall from Parva, but now is he just dead? Our jungler's just dying, jumping for kills onto turret?
I mean, that's absolutely a bit of an int angle. I mean, it looked pretty. Put a bow on it, it's still not going to be anything other than a death. And I think the idea is it's a 2v3, so obviously you're thinking to yourself, we can win this. Tower comes in and becomes the 3rd man, but you're also staring down a pretty big Varus with a Braum protecting him. And they're able to kite back just normally. Nice kills from the bottom lane of Gravitas, not much more to say about that one.
All tied up now. 6 kills apiece at the 15-minute mark. It is still overall, though. PGG, they have a very small gold lead, but nothing to truly harp on about because quietly, Kyosa has been achieving, and whilst he's down individually in camp clear, he's picked up 2 dragons, so now he's picked up his 2nd Herald.
Yeah, he's kind of brought it back a fair bit here, honestly, with the completion of his Mythic as well. It's definitely in a decent position as the Lee Sin. Most Lee Sins, as it goes, drop off come mid-game when there's too much threat to one-hit you, but with the Gore Drinker build, you can be a little bit more defiant. You stand there a little bit longer in team fights. Maybe another rotation of spells is the difference maker. Okay, that is definitely the Sapphire wave clearing for a second there. So 50-50, isn't it?
Yeah.
The other thing I was going to talk about, Skimmy, is the choice of Eclipse for Thomas Shen. He's really gone the 3rd and the least seen option, it feels like, for Varus. In that you want to be layering abilities to even proc that in the first place, like an auto attack with it. But at the same time, it's percentage of max HP and has its merits against what is a health stacking Ornn earlier Leona all the time as well. Most people will have more health than him in this game, even the Ezreal builds health. Also gives a shield, which is probably the biggest thing.
We'll return to that point in just a second, because another fight breaks out once again. Biped with a deep TP, cuts off the angle for retreat as Rizza falls on down first. Now they're going to try and find themselves a fight in the bot side river. As Sapphire tries to run away in the opposite direction, but the Solar Flare connects, and then the rest come. Gravitas are remaining strong, standing true as a 3-man squad. There's the chain of corruption, and it will not spread. But it's the turnaround from Sapphire saying, you can Solar Flare me, I can Solar Flare you! No turret, and a shutdown has been picked up as Kyosu finds his 2nd of the game. But it's time the chains aren't there. But he's got the CDR, and he's got the rundown potential.
And they take down Chaz and Biopanther, get both shutdowns off the solo laners respectively here of Pentanet.gg. And they get extra money into the pockets of Thomas Shen, while Praedyth is sitting top lane. And not a lot to do up there. Turret was basically a stone's throw from dead. Big win there from Gravitas, and taken at the correct time more than anything else. We'll see this again, because it is Rizza that gets smashed at the start of this one. Teleport flank from Biopanther, so obviously not a lot of good things you can do there. Pabu gets his ultimate flashed away from, and Decoy spends a lot of time dealing with Sapphire, keeping them apart. But that time spent is a Lee Sin kick and a Braum ultimate straight onto Chaz, and just picking apart the ranks of Pentanet from front to back slowly but surely. And the damage of Thomas Shen starts to add up. He was ahead, he's going to stay there at this point. As another kill goes over, and I mean, big win.
It was a big win. It just felt like split decision making there. And ultimately, Sapphire was acting as the tank that baited out smarter than. Was able to turn it around back at that tri-brush. There is another dragon, the 5th of the game, and this time Pentanet pick it up, so they deny very early soul point. But Decoy's got out of trouble once again. Jumping on through, looking to try and stay his up and healthy as he can be, but he's going to be the first casualty of war. Then there's a stun! And it doesn't matter if you burn Flash, Cleanse, Arcane Shift, there's not enough ground for you to run away from all the power that Gravitas have at their disposal right now, and they are just looking a little bit clean.
It's just a little bit clean right now. This Lee Sin is a little bit too good right now. Gravitas, Dragon. Did they get the Dragon? No, or was that?
No,
that was PGG, right?
it.
That was okay. Yeah. It was PGG that got the Dragon, but it was Gravitas that win the fight pretty easily on the backside of that one. So again, it did feel like they were split. PGG, they were definitely split up, and they were punished accordingly for it. But the thing is, like, it still takes steady hands to catch a throw, and we've seen that twice in a row now.
They're odd, as if Pentanat were so concerned about an early soul point that they sort of threw all caution to the wind and said, I'll grab this, and you guys zone, and ultimately casualties were found afterwards. Feels a little bit risky to give Gravitas a lead like this, because whilst their form in recent weeks hasn't been as hot as it was to start off the split, there's a reason the head-to-head is 1-1, there's a reason they've beaten, these big top-tier teams. Can't write them off, even if there have been a number of roster swaps on their own end.
All that Q connecting. Of course, Kyose's going to follow that one. He doesn't know. Well, he does now, actually, that there's 3 people there. Oh, my God. Okay.
Mechanical masterclass right there. The ult, the gap close, and the Q execute. But can PGG find success bot side? Beautiful stopwatch. Cancels out the second charge of the ultimate. Now to see if the sustain to do battle with Bio. Sidesteps the chains. Disengages well and truly away from everything. Both bruises will find themselves at 50%.
All right, can they stop the Baron? The answer is, I think yes. Pabu has Flash, has got the ultimate there. Decoy ready to go with the ult himself, and Gravitas are going to turn straight away.
Predator's already been burnt. There's the TV to back him up right now as the rest of PGG have to group up in mid lane. Kyose once again following, safeguards way to a minion. In comes Sapphire looking for it, has a solar flare. Doesn't connect, but they will get Decoy. And he flashes away from what could have been a trade. But here comes Pabu again! A beautiful 3-man moonfall, and so many members low that they can't flash away from this one. Kyose trying to act as a Diana, same champion, but it's not AP, it's AD! Sonic Wave will not connect. That's as close as it comes, and maybe a chance for PGG to breathe a sigh of relief.
Kyose definitely just going to die here. Red buff should take him down, if nothing else. So the shutdown goes the way of PGG, and now Shoes on the other foot, Skimmy Baron is looking to be started up by them. Chaz should be tanky enough. Biopanther also is able to switch to Smite to get some health back to continue to tank for them. So that will just be the Baron. All of the hard work of Gravitas just gets unraveled in an instant. That instant is, once again, Skibby, the Lee Sin's propensity to... You have to follow Q1 with a Q2, don't you? This one, it's okay. You've got the backup. Saf is going in, even if the ult misses. It's creating space. He's zoning. You don't need to group up here for Pabu to go in. They do group up. They get punished. And again, Pabu, take the plays. The kills were fine. They think they've got another one. Kyose takes the Q. He doesn't shield Thomas Shed. He just shields a minion next to him. And so they're able to win the trade pretty easily in the end, PGG. On the back of a nice ult from Pabu more than anything else.
That's 1k gold before. As you mentioned, all the good work that Gravitas have put on in, just in an instant, the class of PGG, the sort of experience starting to come on through. And as a result, team fight success results in them picking up a Baron, and now they can siege quite handily at the 22-minute mark. They find themselves up by 2,000 gold. That's going to be their first, actually their second turret of the game, the first in the mid lane. We're going to try and transition that attention now bot side as Biopem is going to crash that wave and look to take down the third turret, which is already quite low. But this could be a pretty strong Baron power play if the stars align, you'd have to say.
The funny thing here is that we were, for just a moment, both probably considering that a 4-way tie was on the cards. Yeah. with a real genuine possibility. And the door starts to get shut. For just a moment, Order and the fans of Order would have been like, oh my god, it's actually happening. And just how quickly that starts to swing back the other way. It's still possible that they win a fight. But to do so from a deficit against PGG's composition, quite difficult to say the least. The carries are slippery. The damage is high, the engage range is high as well. staring down the barrel of a very powerful gun.
And you can't forget ornaments. Up by 4,000 gold. At a couple thousand extra. And it's not the Trinity Force anymore. It is now the Infinity Force. It's a whole bunch of damage and a whole bunch of chances now for PGG to say, you had the early game, but it's our time to shine now.
Yeah, I like the naming schemes for Ornn upgrades, Skimmy, but I will say that turning Trinity to literally infinite is quite a big jump for a 1,000 gold bonus worth of stats. It actually has a numerical value, so infinite's quite a lot for the naming scheme.
Maybe
Probably
a bit of a
draw the line
Thanos
at that one.
cosplay coming out, I don't know.
I mean, you could just say Quad Force or Ginyu, whatever you prefer. Not infinite. Anyway.
That's a discussion for another time.
I probably don't want to have that discussion again. It's really needless. But we've got some free resets coming across here. There's really nothing on the map, you know, which is why we do have some time to speak freely. You've got 4 minutes till the next Drake. Second one just picked up by PGG. 2 minutes 40 till the Baron just means Baron has expired for PGG as well, more than anything else. Overall, the one thing you'd be playing for right now is Vision. We'll do the ward tango and just try and get some picks as a result of it. Right now, there's a lot of hovering for top side, as Chaz is going to walk in. Is at risk, but I think the backup from the team is too scary, and Saf is the only one who has some indecision there, while the rest of his team backs away.
There were 3 members there for just a fraction, but ultimately they decide it's not a fight we want to take right now. This game is a hairbreadth away from one team wipe, and next minute you know, opposition's knocking on your front door and taking out inhibitors, so they're not going to take that risk just yet. They're going to go for the force reset, wait for PGG to crash these waves, and at least topside anyway. That seems to be the focus. The 4-1 split with Viego pushing mid. Chaz on his own right now and hasn't been matched or answered.
You know, this is, if PGG win this, I will say it's not the type of win you'd be really happy about coming into playoffs. That much is for certain as a form check. We've seen a couple of weaker than expected performances come playoffs time. It's crazy what that extra week can do, what best of 5s can present. But still, they've brought it back. Once again, they get the lead. They still look like the better team so far. But let's not count out Gravitas completely yet. They haven't set that line in the sand and said we're fighting at all costs at the moment. They're still just... Oh, hang on.
Well, knowing that Gravitas have had to disengage, Wade have successfully forced Pipe to flash away to his own ultimate. Creative just going to scout out for a little bit of vision there with the True Shot Barrage before he's also forced to do just the same. And I think it was to be expected that it wasn't going to be that much of an overcommit with another Baron to talk about in 45 seconds. All the vision and all the good work was to push that top side to do what you wanted, right? Gain vision control in order to try and close this game out.
One thing you could ask BioPanther is, how is your lane gone? The answer is he has built basically no magic resistance, has Boots of Lucidity against an AP opponent in lane as a tank. That answers it in and of itself. Good. Been going good. Pretty much, I think, had control in the 1v1. Safa put a lot of time and a bit of effort towards elsewhere. And, you know, giving that time and freedom to the Ornn, it gives him control of waves. And here we are.
He's on the hunt once again. Looking to seize the moment. Zone members away, force them to back off and wait for the big purple worm to spawn. Big Bazza back in the game. Second of the game. And it'll be interesting to see if this game will be decided by a soul point because, you know, it's 2 apiece right now. But for PGG, potentially be a 4 mountain soul. It'd be a bit of a dream. I mean, there would be the magic resist that Bio wants.
Yeah. I feel like he's also just picked up a Negatron as we say it, so he's there. Dragon is basically GG angle anyway, for sure. Like the main reasons that you highlight, I think it's going to be insurmountable. So the clock, I do think the clock has been on for a few minutes here for Gravitas. And while we said nothing was going to happen for 4 minutes, you know, when the Dragon was recently taken, you start to get the feeling that the pressure is going to be building. A ward forced at the Baron pit, most of Gravitas' vision at Baron.
That's a fantastic route from Thomas Shen. Clutch Chain of Corruption to ensure that the wombo combo one shot from Pablo does not connect. They're the ones on the hunt, mind you. They are desperate for a pick to force the numbers advantage. They have to pick a leader to decide, is it a Dragon or is it a Baron? Because I mean, I'm looking at the map right now and Gravitas are already starting it.
Yeah, Gravitas are the ones that have to make a play. And again, their vision's only on the top side of the map. So teleports are going to come in. They're going to contest this. No point going for a third Drake when Baron's being hit. This could determine the game right now.
This can't be a 50-50. They have to do the dance. They have to turn
This
things
is so
around.
low.
And already Saffron and Riz are at 50%. It's not ideal. The stolen Ornn ultimate will not connect. And now Biopanther can pretty much choose whoever he wants. Curious with the nice flash mechanics to try and kick somebody into his team. He just falls on down. Unprotected and no follow-up. 2 kills found by PGG so far. True shot barrage connects to find Praetor his double kill. And we might be finding ourselves the first ace of the game as Praetor runs down Floppy, who puts up the shield, but can't prevent death. And just knock it on your front door.
Yeah, there's really no way out. The pressure was just too much for Gravitas. They force the Baron. They choose to take their stand right now. They don't say, you know, well, basically they've decided that if PGG want to go for this Dragon, they'll get Baron and that's just winning. If they can test us, then that's kind of what we needed to do anyway at a certain point. But they lose the fight pretty comprehensively. They forced with the Ornn ultimate, it misses. The flash kick was fine, but we've seen it more than once now, interrupted immediately by Floppy's Braum ult. So the synergy and the cohesiveness just isn't quite there for them. And you don't really want to kick a Diana into your backline anyway. So there really wasn't a lot of good things to come out of that fight besides desperation. It reeked of it. At the end of the day, PGG is a little bit too strong. When it comes to the crunch, we'll see this again. The flash kick was fine. Pabu gets cancelled by Braum ult though. And the fact they don't get Chaz when they run up means that they were always going to be flanked and they were never going to win that.
Unfortunately not. Maybe a little bit too much pressure, maybe a bit too much confidence here from PGG. Now find themselves very close to the magical 10,000 gold leads. Inhibitor from that ace. They have backed away, gone for a forced reset, get some more items, get some more control wards, and look to re-establish control over the Baron pit. They did actually also sneak away a dragon in the meantime, so that's 3 mountain dragons back-to-back. There's a whole host of extra resistances. And if anything more, Rusty, Pabu, 10 stacks on the Magi's.
Yeah, with his cap done, he's got his witch's hat to wear. It's going to be quite big as, oh, okay. Gyosei wants to 1v5.
He certainly does. I think he's had enough for this game, and Biopanther, acting much like an older brother, will zone him away, not allowing any of it. Israel ult goes on through, knocks up 2 by... Oh, it's over. It's just over just as quickly as that. Pabu hits the stopwatch, hits the zone use, quite honestly. It doesn't really matter. He wasn't under too much of a threat. Decoy still has the ultimate ready to go, but a nice little dash away from Saffron prevents him getting stunned in place, and BTG will have to be happy that they found 2.
Yeah, they have the mid lane inhibitor already down, so they're going to move to the Baron, and this should just be like the security blanket that they needed to really close this game out. They can play through, say, top and mid. Supers will be pushing anywhere. Decoy playing zone defense.
Not
Chaz
without
wants to
Diego
kill him.
following things up. As you said, Chaz is looking for it, claims 1 soul, a bit of HP back. Now looking for Sapper, who goes golden, buffs out the ultimate, so no execution damage, but there's another stun. Doesn't change the overall tune. He still gets that double kill. He still claims another soul in this matchup. And that might be, with PGG getting the Baron, enough to end this game.
Yeah, they're going to be able to run down with this one. Pabu's ultimate very close to being back up and available. Not enough wave clear from Avaris to get through a Baron and Power Super. They are going for the end.
And a corruption, looking to lock them down. Gyosei with a last-ditch effort. One more time to try and hit that kick. Kicks in Decoy. That's not the target you want. Goes golden, but no protection. Another ace. Another game won here by PGG, who are finished now 15-6. Another head-to-head decided as PGG will claim it 2-1.
I mean, it was a messy game, Skimmy. It was never really a clean game given how it started. Bot lane losing 2v2. Some solid movements early as well from Gyosei on this Lee Sin to get a couple of camps. He obviously was not farming nearly as well as Pabu. He was down like 30 jungle CS, but hey, you got like 2 dragons, 2 heralds, I think, as well. Like,
Yep.
Not bad from him overall. And then the mechanics max that we started to see from these players started to just dwindle a little bit more every time. And, you know, you leave the door open for PGG, they'll get the dub.
Absolutely well. When Mac, I believe with that result now that PGG have won, we have a guaranteed locked-in fourth. Top 4, whatever you want to call it, right? PGG first, Order second, Direwolves third, And Chiefs 4th.
I believe it just got updated, so there is no world
No world.
where there is any ties. So kind of
You
sad.
sound very dejected.
I
about
reckon everyone out the back of production is cheering right now. But I'm just sad because I was like so heavily expecting a tie today. However, things didn't go as expected in game one, and now there's a head-to-head. Even if we do have a tie, it will be broken up very easily, and we won't get any extra games. I love tiebreakers. We got one last season. I wanted one this season. But we're not going to get it. Gravitas, though, having a pretty spectacular performance through the early to mid-game, unfortunately for them. They're up against PGG, who know how to play from behind. They did it all last bloody split, and they managed to get an easy W again today. You know, a couple of Barons just rounding it down and destroying that Nexus in style. That's all they really needed to do, and now they are going to be on the top of the table no matter what. So there you have it. Congratulations, PGG are now your regular season champs, although they still have playoffs to get through, don't they, Rusty?
Yeah, they still have to get through playoffs and you know, a couple of best of fives if they want to make it to Worlds. But definitely, I think they'll be happy with how the split ended, considering how it started, Mac.
Yeah.
And I am a little bit sad also that there's no tiebreakers. You won't get Rusty Productions one more time, which was the best mess that I've ever been a part of.
Yeah, that was... I never got to see that. It's probably for a good reason. However...
Very good reason.
I heard it was fun. You know, I'm expecting you were
Have you ever
expecting to have more fun.
spectated your own casts?
Once or twice. In
It's
other
very
games,
hard.
there's functions that allow you to not have to do that because it goes to the action on its own. So yeah, it's a crazy thing. It's like, you know, when you watch a replay and it goes to all the action?
Yeah.
Kind of like that. However, I haven't been in the live game in League, so I wouldn't know. I'm not an observing genius like the observers we have behind the scenes here on the DoorDash LCO, showing you pretty much everything you need to. Speaking of, lots of stats here, Rusty. What do they mean? Do they mean that PGG won?
Yes, they mean that PGG won, Mac.
Okay.
All the stats represent the amount of fountains killed. What it doesn't show is how close the game was early, though. And how dicey this game felt for PGG when I think we could all say it had no right feeling as close as it did until it very obviously wasn't. But again, you've got a sub in the jungle for Gravitas. There's not a lot to really hope for there other than an early upset that snowballs out of control. And it didn't.
Alrighty. Well, of course, we have to bring Nat back from the side lanes. She was having a good time. I saw her in the rafters going, yes, yes, yes. Thank you, PGG. No tie. She was just waiting to burst everyone's bubble. So, who do you have, Nat? Who do you have for the women's interview?
I am going to be joined by Gravitas. Congratulations on the win. This win means that you guys definitely will be taking out spot number 1. So how does it feel?
Oh, really? I didn't even know.
Yeah.
I don't really care. I like playing stage games, so I didn't really care either way, to be honest. But I guess it's pretty cool to you know, take out the split in the first seed.
Yeah. I mean, it's good to hear that you'd have been down to play a few more games, but it does mean that you guys will be going in as number 1, so unfortunately, not more best of 5s for you guys. Talking about this game, though, when it came to that drafting phase, obviously we have the roster change up on the side of Gravitas, so was there too much surprising coming out from that, or not too much?
I think it's like obvious, like the champ pools, whatever. Like we obviously targeted Safa very hard because I think he'll be like very instrumental if they win, right? I think he's like probably their best player. I mean, I think that their bot lane's like really good too. I think every single time I said bot lane this year, I've just ran it down really hard. Like this time was level 1, so it was a bit weird, but yeah, I think they got a bunch of talented players together, and like I'll never underestimate Gravitas, especially because, you know, we lost versus Split 1, even though it was with a Mumu, we still lost. So like their players will always have like a lot of my respect. So
yeah, speaking of that bot lane, they kind of really did bring it to you guys down there this game. It looked a bit of a struggle early game. Can you walk me through it at this, like, I guess that laning phase from your perspective?
I don't know. I just walked into their blue buff level 1 and then we got like really chunked and like almost died. So after that, like already playing like a losing matchup, and after that it's all about just minimizing how much we lose. And I think we did a pretty good job at that. I think we wanted to fight, and then we got first blood, but then we both died on the way out. So I think like I'm pretty happy with how we played it, even though it didn't really look that good. And I put like a lot of the mistakes on like myself, so like it's easy to fix. I'm not worried about or anything.
Yeah, that's great to hear. That early game did look, I guess, a little bit rough from our perspective with some of the team fights, a lot of them kind of going in the way of Gravitas. But what do you think really brought you guys back into that game to secure a win?
I think our team comp was just a lot better. I think we just drafted a team comp that was good at team fighting, and I think like a lot of the early fights, I think like one of them was a 4v5 because the Varus like rotated late, and like I called it, but like I should have had more urgency on it. And then like I think my team got like 4-1 or something, and then I was just taking top tower because you know I like getting gold. So I think like I actually don't remember us ever having an even 5v5 before that, besides the one bot lane where we won. So I think like every team fight we were going to win. It's just like when we wanted to stop, like just like when we wanted to start like grouping up and winning the fights, which is like an actual problem that we're having recently. So props to Gravitas for exposing it, I guess.
Yeah, well, look, you guys worked through it and you ended up securing the win tonight. Congratulations again, now with the new information that you will be taking out first spot at the end of regular season. And thank you for joining me.
Thank you.
Obviously, he's not watching the stream. Exclamation, fold his sheet in the chat, and he would have known. No one from Pentanet was in the chat this evening, so they must have missed the message. Very unfortunate for them. But there is the sheet that shows you the results that could happen after the 2 remaining games. So there's only 4 results left. You know, that makes a little bit of sense. There was 16 at the start of the day. 2 times 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 2 is probably 16. I don't know how many times I said it, but it probably is at some point. However, that's it for that game. And we now have a champion at the top of the table of PGG. Of course, we do have the DoorDash player that delivered as well. And it was a hard decision for all of us here, but it was ya boy in the mid lane, big old Chaz with the hashtags up this time. Probably send it, probably rent free. I don't know, one or the other. Which one is it, Rusty?
Hashtag I was muted, so I'd probably Chaz it up. The go-to. If you're not familiar with Chaz, it was always Chaz it up in the past, so maybe it's just kicking it old school today.
True.
I don't necessarily, like, it was really hard to choose who the MVP was from this game. I think the only thing that I had in my mind was probably not bot lane, because they were a part of the team that got behind. But like Bio won lane, and it was just real chill top lane. Like I think similar things can be said through jungle and mid. It was just a pretty relaxed game, and they won through some pretty casual team fighting in the end. So hard to give it an outright MVP to.
I want to jump in here quickly. I want to go back to that maths you were trying to do, Mac. I want to make it easier for you. The maths that you need to do is just 2 to the power of 4. There's 2 outcomes per game. There's 4 games, gives you 16. Just for anyone out there that wanted to know the maths, that's a really simple way to do it. I just need to clarify that one. It was hurting my soul.
Mac will just smile and wave. Okay, thanks, Mac. Thanks, Nat. Thank you.
So 2, which is the outcomes, to the power of amount of games left in the season. So we can just do that from the start of next season. See, Pete, it's easy. You said it was going to be a lot of work. Nat just told you. It's
a tiny sheet. Just print that out for me.
Super easy sheet, Pete. Now, we do have another game to get to, but before that, we have another damn break. So exclamation DoorDash in chat. Get yourself something to tie you over. Exclamation playlist to listen to the 6 songs. And we are going to have peace and order just after this.
Be a 50-50. They have to do the dance. They have to turn things around. Already Sapper and Rizzo are 50%. It's not ideal. The stolen Ornn ultimate will not connect. And now Biofeather can pretty much choose whoever he wants. Kiss with a nice flash mechanics to try and kick somebody into his team. He just falls on down. Unprotected and no follow-up. 2 kills found by PGG so far. True shot